Guys, it's Cynthia here. Today is the Monster Bass versus MTB Pro shootout. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be throwing a couple of baits from each box. MTB Pro for bass versus Monster Bass, the very first Monster Bass box ever sent out. So both of these boxes are current. They are from this month here in the Northeast. I've got one rod and one reel with me. I'm going to pick 3 baits from each box, and I am going to go one after the other. I'm going to use each bait for 30 minutes or until I catch a fish, whichever is sooner, and I'll keep track and we'll score MTB Pro versus Monster Bass. In the event of a tie, I will do an elimination round with something kind of interesting and fun. Let's get going. Is it going to be MTB Pro for bass, or is it going to be Monster Bass Inaugural Edition? So let's get started tying on some baits. I'm going to make this as fair as possible, so I'm going to use the highest likelihood bait from each box first. I think for MTB Pro, that is probably going to be the black and blue jig with an Ocho trailer. So let's see what we've got in here. Yep, here's the jig. And should I use the eliminators or the Ochos? You know, this is a smallish body of water, so I'm going to use the Ocho, I believe. So that is our first rig. All right, here we are. We are rigged up. We've got our first rig, which is this black and blue jig and green pumpkin Ocho from Mystery Tackle Box Pro. Let's go find a good place to toss a jig. Okay, I have to admit, I've only been here less than 10 minutes, but I am kind of surprised I haven't had a fish. This is usually a great jigging spot. It's a great place for this mid-spring fish to come up and start looking around at possible bedding locations. So I'm going to give it a few more minutes in this spot, and then if I don't get a bite, then I think I'm actually going to pause the timer and move spots to give this bait a fair chance, because after all, I mean, it's a jig fish. Nope, snag. Okay, I have paused the timer. We have just under 20 minutes left, and I'm going to switch spots. I've made it over to one of my high percentage spots, and I'm going to restart the timer. Gotta be a fish there, come on. Come on. Fish. That's a pretty good one. Well, you know, better than nothing. Okay, so as suspected, the jig and the Ocho trailer produced. Here's a nice little healthy, very small bass. Thanks, buddy, for the bite. All right, so MTB Pro score is 1, and the timer still has 14 minutes and 48 seconds on it. So that took about 15 minutes to catch a fish on this black and blue jig with an Ocho trailer. Next up, we're going to switch to the most high likelihood seeming lure in the Monster Bass box. Z-Man ticklers and the shroom head. Okay, we've got our super finesse Z-Man shroom's head and ticklers grub tied on. I'm going to reset the timer for 30 minutes. And here we go. bite. Oh my God, the first cast. Wow. A teeny tiny bass. But hey, it's a fish. First cast. That's incredible. I don't even think that was 2 minutes. And let's see if I can get this little guy unhooked. Man, that's hard with the teeny tiny little face. Ow. I got myself. Oh. Okay, you are unhooked and you've just got some weeds in your mouth. Okay, thanks, little man. Time check, that was 1.5 minutes. Unbelievable. Okay, for our second set, we're going to do an eliminator with a 3/0 offset worm hook. We're going to start with that, and then we're going to move on to the Monster Bass Sea Shad from Doomsday Tackle with this 4/0, what they say is a wacky rig hook, but that's pretty weird. So we're going to start with the eliminator from Mystery Tackle Box. Okay, so we've got the Game Changer Lures eliminator tied on, Texas rig, weightless, and we are going to start the timer now. Unintentional skip. Oh, fish. I'm shocked. All right, go eliminator. What the heck? That's a nice big fish. All right, buddy. Calm down. Whoa, you got a bad mouth injury, man. Oof. Wow, somebody did a number on you. Poor guy. Well, that's one for the eliminator. This poor guy with a messed up jaw, but I'm happy to see that he can still eat. Nice, heavy fish. Really beautiful and healthy other than that really torn up jaw. I'm sorry to see that. I hate that. All right, thanks for the bite, buddy. Okay, so the eliminator fished weightless Texas. Yep, 8.5 minutes. Wow. Okay, so we've got the Sea Shad rigged up on a jig head here, and we're going to start the timer now. For some reason, I don't feel confident in this bait. Oops. Fish. Oh, he's a jumperoo. All right, gator jumperoo. Let's go. Well, that was fast. And it's interesting to look at the Sea Shad next to a bass. I mean, could that look much more like a baby bass? Really great. Thanks, little guy. It's a lovely little fish. On the Sea Shad, very, very quickly. Let's do a time check. Oh my God, that was less than 1.5 minutes. Time check. That was less than 1.5 minutes. Crazy. Okay, For our final set of lures, this is going to be a big challenge because I'm switching to crankbaits. This is the Shimmy Shake from Carl's Bait and Tackle, and I'm going to throw that first, and we're going to set the timer now, 30 minutes. Let's see if we can catch a fish in half an hour on this crankbait from the shore. Bite. Oh, I think he came off. Oh, God. Hey, bit it right there. Let's see if I can get him to bite it again. No, he don't want to take it again. Shoot. That one caught me really by surprise because it bit so close to me. Really like the look and feel of this lure. It's got a nice rattle, looks great in the water, and it really does shimmy. Yeah, this is not the ideal lure to be fishing in this situation. You know, sort of shore fishing a small body of water that has a significant weed bed here. But for the sake of this challenge, I'm using what MTB gave me, and honestly, it's this or the duck. The duck's not happening. I have had a couple of light bites, non-committal bites. One was my fault. I missed the hook set. Okay, this is bait number 5 of our MTB Pro versus Monster Bass shootout. And I think we might have the first misfire of the bunch. So far, the Carl's Bait's Shimmy Shake is not producing. We have about 8.5 minutes left of our 30-minute time limit. So the rules are, I'm giving every bait 30 minutes to catch a fish. And we've been fishing this bait for about 22 minutes with no fish. Okay, so we had our first 0 of the challenge. That is the Carl's Amazing Baits Shimmy Shake. Did not catch a fish in this scenario. Final bait number 6 of our Mystery Tackle Box versus Monster Bass shootout. And here we have the classic rattle trap. And this is in lavender shad. And to be honest with you, I'm not super confident in this color, but we're going to see what happens. I mean, you know, maybe I'll be very surprised and lavender shad works out to be the greatest color ever for my waters. I don't know. Let's see. 30 minutes starts now. One thing I will say is, regardless of the color, I do have more confidence in a rattle trap than I did in that diving crankbait. If for no other reason than there's some grass lines over here that I can rip this through. There's some grass lines over here that I can rip this through. But on the flip side, anything with double trebles is also annoying to untangle. Okay, that's our timer. We had half an hour of fishing the rattle trap in lavender shad, and we did not catch a fish. In fact, we didn't even have a bite, which I'm pretty surprised about. At least I had a bite on the Shimmy Shake, but not even a bite on the lavender shad rattle trap. Obviously, that's a draw for those 2 baits. So we have 2 bites for MTB, 2 bites for Monster Bass. Now, let's just tally up which box's baits produced bites the fastest. Okay, I am back at the house. I ran out of time to fish today, and I completed what I had set out to do with the MTB Pro and Monster Bass Shootout Challenge. However, neither of the 2 final baits caught fish. So what I'm going to do, just to make this completely fair, is actually redo that 3rd round where I had been fishing with the rattle trap from Monster Bass and with the Carl's Shimmy Shake from MTB. Sorry about the noise. These guys have some things to say right now. So far, Monster Bass is in the lead when you consider the time it took for each bait to catch a fish. So that's where we are. We're at 2-2. Monster Bass has the time advantage currently. So I'm not quite done with this challenge and this shootout just yet. We're gonna do a sudden death round with these crankbaits. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so that you're sure not to miss a second of the Monster Bass versus MTB shootout challenge. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in part 2.